Hey guys, you're in the cut with SliderCuts, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be taking you through a child's skin fade. Now, when cutting children, many of you know it can be difficult because they move around, so the goal is to get them in and out as quick as possible. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a skin fade method that will make it quicker to cut someone's hair. So enough of the talking, let's get into the cut. All right guys, so I'm just going to start off by combing out his hair. Now the style he's going for today is going to be a skin fade and a number 2 with the grain on top. So comb out his hair all out. I've got my number 3, which is the wrong gauge. Number 2, closed number 2. I'm going to go with the grain. So especially with children, you kind of want to keep the head steady because they can move at any time. So I've got one finger on his forehead and I'm going with the grain with the number 2. So straight away, as I'm cutting his hair, you can see little things like here is darker and more dense. It's a little bit lighter here. So from seeing that from the beginning, what I do is when I'm cutting, I kind of go around this area because I want it to look all balanced at the end of the haircut. So some people just go over it and it's like, oh, I didn't realize that. This is why it's good to observe the client's head first, their hair, and see all the different areas. They might have a cowlick, place where it's more lighter, denser, and so on. So when you start cutting the hair, you're like, okay, I'm going to do number 2 all around here. I might do a number 3 over here or just skim this area because it's lighter in that area, or the hair color is lighter or texture and so on, so that we can make it look even and not get to the end of the haircut and say, oh, the reason why it looks uneven is because his hair is this. And it's like, okay, you should have done an assessment on their hair first. And that can take all of 30 seconds. All right, let's carry on. Now I'm going to get into the fade. Now this is where the technique is, so watch carefully and listen carefully to what I'm doing to make this haircut a little bit quicker. I show you guys different techniques, and the reason why is because there's many ways to do a fade, and I think that it's good for barbers to know the different techniques, the harder techniques, the easier techniques, and to master them all, so that when you come to different hair textures and different clients, you're like, okay, cool. For this client and this hair texture, I'm going to use this technique because it'll be best for this person. So with this one here, some people might call it a cheat, but it works. So fully closed, guys. But what we're gonna do is fully close it, and we're gonna open it just a little bit. So this is not skin anymore, but it's just above skin. So then you take it up to where you want the fade to kind of end. I say kind of end because wherever you take it to, the fade's gonna end just a little bit lower than that because it's not skin, and I'm gonna make it skin in the end, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So with this method, literally just put the skin line in, or should I say the almost skin line in, all around. And that's what you're gonna do. Leave all of this area, get straight into the fade. So now, create your invisible line. So that's where I'm going to go up to it and flick out. The reason why I created the invisible line there is because I want to make sure the fade is on the side of his head and not at the top. So now, what you need to also focus on is correct clipper strokes, making sure that the bristles on the gauge is going through the grains of the client's hair. When you want to cut someone quickly, the important thing is to make sure that you've got a good technique, but also that you're using correct clipper strokes. Because if I start doing this, and if the camera shows you, if I start doing this, you look straight, if I start doing this and I'm cutting here, I'm scraping some hair, but it's not efficient what I'm doing. What's more efficient is me making sure that this part here is leaned on the client's head and it's going through and flicking out. Like you're combing through the client's hair. Combing through the client's hair. Combing through the client's hair with the bristles on the gauge. That's how you do correct clipper strokes, and that's how you can make sure that you don't have to do so many strokes and instead just do a few clipper strokes and move on. So watch this. Now I'm going to move on. I say move on, sorry. That was the open number 1.5. Now I'm going to close it, do a few clipper strokes. Then move on. Now, my first invisible line was there. I'm just going to drop slightly lower, then with the open one, go up to it and flick out. Making sure, now the thing to do as well with children, just hold their heads. Just hold their head there, because children will move around, they'll be looking there, looking up, looking down, so make sure that you're just holding them there. It's not tight, look, it's a very loose grip, but I'm holding them firm where I want them to be. Then go up to my invisible line, flick out. Because also what you'll find as well is if you don't hold their head, what happens as well is when you're trying to do like a quick, efficient fade, when you start doing that, they start moving their head as well. And you're like, okay, I'm not getting through their hair properly because every time I do that, his head moves as well. So I don't know if you can see it, but his head moving like that every time I do it. So what's best is to do, the best thing to do is to hold his head firm. Then look, I can now do better, easier, and more efficient, correct clipper strokes. Close the lever, then go to the same place. This is the close number 1 right now. Go to the same place. Correct clipper strokes. Now, first invisible line was there, second one was there. Now with the open blade, because I'm going to jump to the open blade, I'm not going to use the 0.5 gauge in this fade. With the open blade, because it'll be quicker to use the open blade, I'm not going to come, if I had a 0.5 gauge, I would have gone to there. I'm going to skip there and come down to here with the open blade. So there's my invisible line. What I'm going to do is hold his head again, open blade from under that almost skin line, go through and flick out. Now it's important that you flick out, because flicking out is what helps create the fade. If you don't flick out, what you'll end up doing is stopping, and you create another line. But when you flick out, that helps with creating a fade. So look, number 1.5 was there, number 1 was there. The 0.5 gauge would have been there, but I skipped there, and I'm going to the open blade, which is slightly lower. So I'm coming up to it, and I'm just flicking out. And make sure that when as I'm getting to it, I'm literally flicking out. Close the lever a little bit, come up to slightly lower. So when I was there with the open blade, come down a little bit lower, come to it, and flick out. Close the lever a little bit more, then I'm going to drop down a little bit lower, touch that line that I created in the beginning, and I'm just flicking out. So right here, guys, I'm happy with it. I'm going to move on. It's not complete. If you look at the fade, you can spot things. There's a line here. It's not blended properly there, and you'll see other little lines. But my whole thing is move on, do the back, do the other side, and come back to this area here in the refining stage. Because you can spend too long on one area, like I always say, get frustrated, get flustered and all that stuff. All of that stuff there, then at the end you're like, oh. Or when you have to move on, sorry, you're like, oh, I've done all this and spent 15 minutes on one area, then look, I still need to do the back, I still need to do the other side. So forget that, move on. And where I'm showing you how to do an efficient fade and how to do a quick fade, it's important not to spend too long on any area. Very important. Even though your barber urge and itch is like, no, because that's how I'm feeling right now. Like, oh no, I need to blend out this area, but I have to force myself to say, no, just move on. We're doing a quick fade. Let's go. Now, in this area, guys, I'm doing exactly what I did on the other side. I'm not going to speak you through it because I've already spoken you through the other side, but I'm doing exactly what I did on the other side. But on this area, what I'm going to do actually more than the other side is, look, I'm going to start off with the close number 2. You can kind of like skip gauges to some degree if you're light with your flick, because all you got to do is kind of like not press down as hard. I'm pressing down, and then when I come out, I'm flicking out. So I'll explain that in another video. Don't worry about it. Don't want to overcomplicate things. But I'm basically doing exactly what I did on the other side. And why this fade will be done quicker than maybe a usual fade is because many people struggle with fading out the skin line. So what I did in this fade was I didn't bring it to skin, just above skin. So what you'd have found and what you'll see, and when you do it yourself, what you'll find is that, oh, that line and that blend comes out a lot easier when we're down here. And that's just because it's not to skin. Simple. But now you get to watch me in real life, because when I'm doing tutorials and I'm talking, even now I'm talking, I slow things down to break it down for you guys. But when I'm fading and cutting day to day, this is more so what it looks like. So it looks a bit more messy, but it's using the same technique. So look, in real time, move on to the back. And in real time, I think it's actually good for you guys to see this. I think it's actually very good for you guys to see this, so you can see what it's like when someone's actually fading. Because what you'll find is when people give you haircut tutorials, they are giving you the necessary steps that will help you produce a fade and a good haircut, good shape up and everything. But majority of times, the steps that they teach and I teach, I don't actually use them that thoroughly when I'm actually cutting hair. But these steps are good to learn, and once you learn them, you can adapt them to your style and how you cut, and work around the way you want to do it. But just kind of like loosely sticking to those steps. So when you're following these tutorials, like follow them, but don't like feel like you have to follow them to a T. Like I'd say in the beginning, when you're learning, follow it to a T. And then once you start getting used to it, then start being more creative with it. So this technique, as you can see, it makes it so much easier to get out that line at the bottom. So right now it's like, okay, cool, this is faded. And to be honest, no offense to anyone, there's lots of people, especially at the beginning stages, where they leave their fades like this. Not saying you should, I'm not trying to offend anyone. So even where it's at right now, it's at a decent place, although there is plenty that could be done to it. No, not even can be done to it. There's plenty that should be done to it. But now we've kind of like done that, look around. This is what it's looking at right now. This took me all of a few minutes. So if I spend time just fading it over a few minutes, then I can spend another 5 minutes to 10 minutes at the end if I want to make it, not if I want to, I'm going to have to spend, let's say 5 to 10 minutes at the end, making it very clean. But right now we faded it. There's no real line there. And that's just because I didn't fade, or I didn't put a skin line in here. It was just above skin, so it makes it easier to get that line out. But then I'll show you towards the end how we get this to skin. Right now, with this client's hair, I'm now going to shape it. And this tutorial isn't really about that, so I'm not really gonna go fully into that, but now I'm gonna shape it to the shape it should be. So all of here needs to be flattened. So I'll be telling you what I'm doing, but I won't be going into the reasons fully behind it. But ultimately just to do with the shape of someone's hair and head. So when you're cutting someone's hair, it's important to look at them and look at the shape that you're trying to produce. And not just be like, look, I've done a number 2 on top, so that's number 2. It's like, I've done a number 2 on top, yes. But when I look at his head, it's like, okay, cool, these areas need to come in more to create a good shape. And it's to do with like hair texture, it's to do with head shape and so on. When you're trying to make something look a certain way, it's not just about using number 2 and saying, cool, I use a number 2. I'm slightly tapering the front so it's flat here. Also on the sides here, his hair sticks out a lot more. So I'm bringing it here to a 1.5, slightly lower. So when you look at it straight and when it's shaped up and everything like that and the whole haircut's finished, it looks like a good shape. So cutting hair is more than just, oh, can you fade someone's hair and can you shape up someone? You also, as you advance, need to understand, okay, it's about the shapes. How does the shape of someone's hair look? Does it look correct? Are you doing the right thing? So that's a brief explanation as to what I'm doing right here. And that's the why it was a number 2, but in these areas here, I'm bringing it to a 1.5. These are the small things that make a massive, massive, massive difference. I know I'm midway through the haircut, but for those which are always asking me, and in my comments I always get the question, what clippers and tools am I using? To fade and cut the hair down, I've been using the Wahl Gold Cordless Magic Clip. Now to do his shape up, what I'm going to use is the Wahl A-Lign. Now let me let you know this, in my opinion, and other people's opinions as well. This is the best trimmer for shaping up children. It's sharp, it's powerful, but it doesn't cut their skin. It doesn't hurt them. It's amazing. So for children or any client with sensitive skin, this is the trimmer to get. Shape up time. So first of all, comb out the front, and then with the open one, I'm just flattening the edges. With the Wahl A-Line that I just spoke about, head up please. Gotta comb out his hairline first, and I'm gonna hold his head because you cannot trust a child to hold still. So if you're doing this, and you're doing this, and the child edges forward or anything like that, it's gonna be a problem. So make sure, comb out the hairline, hold their head firmly but softly, start in the middle, go across. Now, I think I've done this the wrong way round. If I'm being honest, what I should have started off with is the sideline, and let me show you why. So start off with the sideline. Another good thing about this A-line, just so you understand, is the small blade, because most children have a small forehead. So when you've got the longer blades and you're cutting, you're always at risk of cutting their eyebrow. So this is why this trimmer is very good for children as well, because it's powerful, it cuts, it's soft, and it's got the small blade. So start off with the side, pressing down, pulling away. And the reason why I think it's best to start off with the side is because then you can go from the front, press down, pull away from the hairline, and go across in a straight line, continuously pressing down and pulling away from the hairline to meet that side line that you have created. So I think it's better to start off with a side line because it lets you know where the front line should meet it. If you go with the front line, sometimes you're like, okay, do I drop down? Do I go up? And so on. So I think it's a lot easier if you start off with the sideline. So there we have a shape up. So where the shape up is right now, could it be better? Of course it can be. Will it be better? Of course it will. But is it in a good place? Yes. So I'm gonna move on, do the other side. Then we'll be in a place when we're now ready to refine the whole haircut. Go over the fade, skin this all out, go over the shape up, make the top a little bit neater, but this is the best way to keep flowing, keep going, keep motivated, because that's the word that everyone loves, right? How do you say motivated? You know, in a haircut, but let me tell you this, regardless whether you're motivated or not, just do your job. But that's the best way, because when you spend too long in any area, it demotivates you when you have to move on and say, oh, I spent 10, 15 minutes on this area, and I got to do the other side. This is how you start feeling like, oh, this is so long. And this is why I say, move quick, be efficient with it, and move on. So now I've done both sides of the shape up. I'm gonna go over it to make it straighter, sharper, and all that stuff there. But when you look at the haircut, look at it right now, shape up, spin it around. Look how the haircut's looking. And this was me going through it quickly. Now I've gone through the whole haircut. Let me show you how to skin out the bottom and not leave another line in it that you're going to have to fade out again. Now I'm switching over to using the Wahl black detailer. I can use the A-Lign, but this one's a bit more powerful. So I'm gonna go with this one. But depending on how sharp your clippers are, you kind of like work out which one would be best to use, because if the client's really sensitive, then it's better to use the A-Lign, but this one will be cool. So come from underneath, take out all of this. Now, what's important is, even with the trimmer, is to make sure that when you're coming up towards this area, you are flicking out. Just flicking out. Because if you don't flick out, so if you notice, if you can see me, let me over exaggerate so you can see what I'm doing. I'm doing this. That's me over exaggerating so you understand. So I'm just doing little flicks. And the reason why, because if you don't, what you will do is just create another line and you're like, oh, I got more of the fade to do. So you come from underneath here, clear all of this hair here. And when you get to this area here, where we created the first line, just underneath it, just flick out. Make sure that you're just flicking out. You're being very light. So I can do this all around. And this part here, I would say, like the rest of it, take your time, don't rush it. Because if you rush this part here, then you go up too high, you put another line in it, then you find yourself refading the whole thing. So it's not that it'll take the longest to do, but it is just more work. And the whole purpose of this method and this technique of fading was so that you wouldn't have to fade out a skin line. For the back of his neck, where most people are more sensitive, I'm going to use the A-Lign right for the bottom here, because as I said, most people are very sensitive here, especially children who have not developed their thick skin here. So I'm going to use the softer trimmer just to get rid of these hairs. These are the things you can do right at the end as well, especially that when I take the cape off, a lot of times, in most cases, there's always hair underneath there anyway, so as a barber you find yourself going over it. But I'm just taking off what I can really right now. Now I've gone over the whole haircut. Now it's time to take this haircut from whatever level you would deem it to be. Some people would say it's a bad level, some people say it's a good level. But whatever level it is at right now, we're going to take it up a few notches through refining. And what is refining? For those who do not understand what refining is, let me give you just a brief explanation on it. Refining is the stage of the haircut where you look at the things that can be improved. So sometimes, if we look at this haircut right now, we can look here and see that the fade doesn't look so blended here. It looks quite like, okay, it's faded, and it just feels like it's quite heavy, and it's like almost like a drop instead of a fade. It's almost like it just drops. So we're gonna go over that area there to blend that area more. Over here, the hair could be lighter. His hair on the top could be smoother. There's parts around the fade where I'm like, there's little lines in it. So in the refining stage, this is the things that we look at. And the best thing to do when you want to refine someone's haircut is this. Step back from the haircut and just spin it, spin the client, look around with fresh eyes and just look at what can be improved. And then go into it and attack it. So all the things I was telling you about, which I could spot, that's what I'm going over right now. And the reason why I do this in the refining stage instead of when I just started the fade is because it's a lot easier to improve the haircut with fresh eyes. And also, what I have found, and many people will agree, is that when you spend long on one area, you stop seeing the area clearly. So you think you're seeing it for what it is, but you're not. So your vision becomes blurry. You're just not seeing things that well. So it's better to actually come back when you got fresh eyes and just go over it. And it's easier that way as well. So that simple thing is step back from the hair, look at it, see what needs to be improved, then come back in and improve it. So it could be lines, it could be heavier patches, whatever it is. It could be something needs to be smoother, whatever it is. You do that now in the refining stage. And refining a haircut will take whatever level your haircut is at, it will take it up. If it's at level 5, it will take it up to about a 7. If it's at a 7, it will take it up to about a 9. If it's at a 9, you won't get it to a 10, because I don't believe anything is perfect. see, he's constantly dropping his head, right? And this is why it's important to do this, because he's constantly dropping his head and I keep doing this. Then I'm fading, he drops his head again, then I do it again. So it's best to just hold the client's head where you want it to be. And it's a lot easier that way. With a bit of refining, can you see how much better this side looks? How much smoother it is? And that's just me going over it, spending like a minute or two going over the things that I saw was wrong with the haircut, and it improves it. And that's why I say just wait till this time here, because when you wait till the end to do it as well, not only is it easier to see it and you're not frustrated and so on, it's actually quicker to do than doing it when you started the fade initially. So I'm just gonna do that same thing the whole way around, go over the shape up, smooth it over the top, and then we're done. With a open 1.5, I'm skimming the top. So even though I use the number 2 on it, I'm not pressing down on it like that. I'm literally skimming it. So you can see, I've tilted the clipper like that, and I'm just skimming it. And the reason why is because I'm just trying to skim some of the hairs so it can be smoother. If I do it like that, I'm gonna drop it down another level. So I don't want that. So that is the most efficient way to cut. So I'm tilting it up like this. I'm making sure to hold onto the back, because if you don't hold onto the back, what can happen is you could be doing that, it could come off and you patch the client's head. So make sure, keep it secure if you're gonna use this technique. And I'm just skimming it just a little bit to make it smoother. Now I'm just going over the shape up again, make it a bit cleaner, a bit sharper, maybe make the angles better, more even, and so on. So this is also refining, because we are refining the haircut. Now we're refining the shape up. And I always tell people, the more you comb out someone's hairline and scratch the edges, the longer the shape up will last, and the cleaner the shape up will look, and the more prominent the shape up will be. So remember that as to why you should go over a client's hair a few times and comb it out. Don't just do it one round, because I find that annoying when barbers do that, because it looks good for the moment. Then they go home, they wash their hair, or they sweat, or something along those lines, and then suddenly the shape up is gone because it was never really there properly. So there you have it, guys. I took you through a skin fade method that will make cutting children a lot easier. Or, to be honest, if you struggle just fading out a skin line, that's one method you can use to help you. But I would say this, don't rely on using this method, because I think it's important that you learn how to fade out a skin line. But this is just an alternative method you can use when you are cutting. You've been in a cut with SliderCuts. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and click that bell notification to be notified every time I post a video. And if there's any videos you want me to do, make sure to put that in the comments and I'll get around to it as soon as I can.